Hello students, I am Mom Rose. If you are new to my channel, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button below and the notification bell for you to be updated on my upcoming videos. Happy learning! In this video, we will be getting the standard form of an ellipse using its properties. Number 1. Find the standard equation of the ellipse whose foci are 0, -8, 0, +8, such that for any point on it, the sum of its distances from the foci is 34. Recall that our center is the midpoint of our foci, our vertices, and our covertices. Therefore, to get our center here, we have to get the midpoint of 0, -8, and 0, 8, which is obviously 0, 0. Since our center is at 0, 0, there are two possible equations here. Since our focus 0, -8, and 0, 8 are found on the y-axis, we will be using this equation. Recall that our foci is c units away from the center. Therefore, our c here is 8, which means our c squared is equal to 64. Also recall that the sum of the distances of the foci to a given point is 2a. Going back to our given, it states here that the sum of its distances from the foci is 34. Therefore, 2a is equal to 34. Dividing both sides by 2, we'll have here a is equal to 17, which means that our a squared is 289. Since we already have our c squared and our a squared, we will be getting now the value of our b squared. Recall that c squared is equal to a squared minus b squared. Simply substitute the values of our c squared and a squared to get our b squared. What are we going to subtract to 289 to get the value of 64? That is 225. Therefore, our b squared is equal to 225. With the values of our a squared and b squared, we can now complete our standard equation. X squared over 225 plus y squared over 289 is equal to 1. Number 2. Find an equation of an ellipse with center at 0, 0, one focus at 3, 0, and the vertex -4, 0. Sketch the graph. Since it is already stated that our center is at 0, 0, we have here two possible standard equations. As you can see, our focus is at the x-axis and our vertex is also at the x-axis. Therefore, we will be using this equation. Now, since the center is the midpoint of the foci, the vertices, and the covertices, if one focus is at 3, 0, automatically the other focus is at -3, 0. Each of our focus is 3 units away from the center. Therefore, our c here is positive or -3, which means that our c squared is equal to 9. Going back to our given, if one vertex is at -4, 0, then the other vertex is at 4, 0. And since they are a units away from the center, our a here is positive or -4, which means that our a squared is equal to 16. Now to get our b squared, or the distance from the center going to our covertices, we will be using the same formula. C squared is equal to a squared minus b squared. Substituting the values, we have here 9 is equal to 16 minus b squared. Therefore, our b squared here is equal to 7, which means that our b is positive or negative square root of 7, which is approximately 2.65 units. So from the center, we can plot our covertices by counting 2.65 units up and down. Therefore, our standard equation here is x squared all over 16 plus y squared over 7 is equal to 1. And this is how our graph looks like. Number 3. The covertices of an ellipse are 5, 6, and 5, 8. For any point on the ellipse, the sum of its distances from the foci is 12. Find the standard equation of the ellipse. The midpoint of our covertices is our center. Obviously, it's at 5, 7. Since our center is in HK, there are two possible standard equations here. Since our covertices here are parallel to our y-axis, we will be using this standard equation. Remember that our covertices are b units away from the center, which means to say our b here is equal to positive or negative 1, making our b squared equal to 1. Now, recall that the sum of the distances from the foci to any point is equal to 2a. Our given states that it is equal to 12. Therefore, 2a is equal to 12. To get the value of a here, we will be dividing both sides by 2, having a result of 6. Therefore, our a squared here is equal to 36. Since we already have the values of b squared and a squared, we will simply substitute it to get our standard equation. Since we don't have to write 1 as our denominator, our final answer is quantity x minus 5 raised to 2 all over 36 plus quantity y minus 7 raised to 2 is equal to 1. Special shout out to my awesome friends and students, Kikit Ugmad, Clent Stamo, May Carmel Pelaez, Love Sarsalejo, and Marvin Von Balagosa. That is all for today. Thank you and see you on our next video lesson.